very good evening to you on the eve of the 2018 local government elections. We are coming to you live from Colombo with our prime time news bulletin. I'm Chaturanga Hapuarachi.
A very good evening. I'm Rahna Farooq. Let's start off with a look at your headlines for tonight.
Local government elections begin tomorrow at 7 a.m. Officials and ballot boxes sent to election centres. 65,000 police officers deployed for elections. Why was Udayanga Weerathunga not arrested? Ministries of Foreign Affairs and Law and Order explain. Sri Lanka added to the European Commission's money laundering blacklist.
Now, the police media spokesperson SP Ruwan Gunasekara was extensively grilled by journalists today over one particular incident. That is about Udayanga Weerathunga and why authorities have failed to arrest him as yet.
I cannot comment on the matter right now. A team has already been deployed. One team left the country on Wednesday and another last night. They engaged in a diplomatic matter and we will inform the media once we get a report from them.
Udayanga Weerathunga was intercepted in the United Arab Emirates on Sunday, the 4th of February 2018, when he attempted to leave to the United States. However, on Facebook, Weerathunga had posted he was released as there was no international allegation to detain and interrogate him by Interpol, and there was no red notice issued against him. This evening, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Ministry of Law and Order, issuing a joint statement, said Udayanga Weerathunga had been evading a warrant of arrest issued on 20th October 2016 by a Colombo magistrate in relation to investigations pertaining to alleged embezzlement of public funds to the tune of $7.833 million with regard to procurement of MiG aircraft and money laundering. It adds, on the basis of a blue notice obtained by Interpol, Sri Lankan authorities have been working through mutual legal assistance with a number of countries to trace Weerathunga's whereabouts. As the law in the UAE and the rules governing Interpol Blue Notice prevented the continued detention of Weerathunga, he had been released by the UAE authorities subsequently. The statement says police in the UAE are investigating this matter and Weerathunga has been prevented from leaving the territory of the UAE until the conclusion of these investigations. In the meantime, the FCID, which is investigating the allegations and complaints against Weerathunga in Sri Lanka, are working with Interpol in Abu Dhabi on this case. The Sri Lankan embassy in Abu Dhabi has also retained lawyers in the UAE specializing in immigration matters to advise the government of Sri Lanka on this matter. Udayanga Weerathunga is the most talked about person right now in Sri Lanka in all forms of society. Now, he was detained in Dubai on the 4th. Allegations have been made that he has so many accounts all over the place, including in Sri Lanka and inside Sri Lanka, in a number of banks, especially in Nitambua. Now, the allegation is that he was involved in the misappropriation of funds relating to the MiG purchase. And many believe that this also led to the death of a well-known journalist. Now, what has happened since then? Udayanga Weerathunga went missing after his term as ambassador ended in Russia, and now a team comprising of personnel from the Financial Crimes Investigations Division, the Attorney General's Department, and also the Immigration and Immigration Department have gone to Dubai in order to see what they can do to bring him back to Sri Lanka. Now, we have received word that a very senior individual at the Attorney General's Department was unable to visit Dubai because of an issue in his visa. And the main issue right now is in Dubai, Friday and Saturday are the weekend and they start their week on Sunday. So we are receiving word that this senior official from the Attorney General's Department will get his visa on Sunday and he will be able to fly to Dubai in order to assist in the process of bringing back Udayanga Weerathunga. Now, many questions lie surrounding Udayanga Weerathunga as to why wasn't an arrest warrant issued against him through Interpol, such as a red notice. Now, his diplomatic passport is no longer valid, but many question Udayanga Weerathunga, he has money so that he can obtain a fake passport or even a very well-crafted document as a passport that will go undetected. Now, Udayanga Weerathunga is also alleged to be involved in the sale of weapons and ammunition to certain rebel groups over in Ukraine. Now, with these developments, the Criminal Investigations Department has also made some startling discoveries surrounding Udayanga Weeratunga. The Criminal Investigations Department conducted an investigation into the financials of former Sri Lankan ambassador to Russia, Udayanga Weeratunga, mainly focusing on his accounts in 2 licensed commercial banks in Sri Lanka. This was in response to the fundamental rights petition filed by Weeratunga seeking his arrest be prevented. The CID officer presented facts via an affidavit. It has come to light as of the 28th of April 2015, the monies deposited in the accounts of licensed commercial banks in various places of the country under Udayanga Weeratunga's name exceeds 237 million rupees. In an account at a bank branch in Kadawatha registered under Weeratunga's name, the CID found 401,549 rupees. At a branch in Nitambua, the CID found 110,112,927 rupees in an account of which Weeratunga is the account holder. At a branch in Pallavi, the CID found 70,753,270 rupees, and at the Gampaha bank account, they found 20,764,698 rupees, all in the accounts of which Udayanga Weeratunga is the account holder. Meanwhile, the CID also found 35,144,984 rupees in the account of another bank located in Colombo. The Criminal Investigations Department also traced inward remittances from overseas origins. From Russia, there was 68,032,080 rupees. From Russia, Cyprus and Latvia, 531,834,955 rupees. From the United Arab Emirates, rupees 2,193,174 rupees and 39,567,230 rupees. The CID investigator in her affidavit to court states some of the inward remittances have originated from companies that do not engage in illicit business incorporated in Panama, the Marshall Islands, Cyprus and Belize. Now, you might have noticed that many bank accounts are in Nitambua. Now, Nitambua is also where the bank accounts of the youth who was working in Russia and later died mysteriously are located in. Now, his body was exhumed for further investigations, but still the mystery surrounds around his death. Now, when you look at the incidents that are taking place, even the report, the affidavit given by the CID officer to court, it states this is surrounding money laundering. And if you might notice the news item that we just aired, the money had come from establishments incorporated in Panama, Belize, the Marshall Islands, which are hubs for money laundering. Now, speaking of money laundering, now Sri Lanka has been added to the European Commission's money laundering blacklist.
Sri Lanka, Tunisia, Trinidad and Tobago are newest inclusions to the European Commission's list of non-EU countries considered to have strategic deficiencies in their anti-money laundering and terrorism financing regimes. The other countries listed in the European Commission's blacklist are Uganda, Afghanistan, People's Democratic Republic of Laos and Guyana. There have been intense efforts by some members of the European Parliament to reject the inclusion of Tunisia into this list. However, they have not been able to receive the 376-vote absolute majority. Prime Minister of Tunisia, Youssef Chahed, has sacked the governor of the country's central bank, Shadli Ayari. FATF, or the Intergovernmental Financial Action Task Force, has recently listed Sri Lanka among 11 high-risk and monitored jurisdictions that have taken insufficient measures to combat money laundering, terrorist financing and other threats to the international financial system. The other countries are Bosnia, Ethiopia, Iraq, Syria, Trinidad and Tobago, Tunisia, Vanuatu and Yemen.
Sri Lanka has been classified as a grey area country which is monitored. Now, in these dealings we do not meet up to the required standards. We will be penalized, and these penalties could impact upon the country's sovereign rating as well as the country's banking system's ability to trade and transact international financial business. So it is important that all stakeholders, very specifically the banking sector and the other private sector and even professionals, play their due role in ensuring that Sri Lanka is a country that is compliant with the standards.
Over the past 3 years, a number of changes have been made to key financial legislation. Key among them were the changes made to the foreign exchange controls through the Foreign Exchange Act number 12 of 2017, which was brought in very surreptitiously. The new legislation came under much criticism, and members of the civil society reiterated that this legislation could lead to money laundering.
Now, one of the key points highlighted by the European Commission to add countries to its blacklist is that insufficient measures have been taken to prevent money laundering. Now, one of the key points that experts say for this money laundering to take place is that the economy is also a contributing factor, as well as the spending capacity in the country. Now, if you look at Sri Lanka, from records that we have obtained, 234 billion rupees of purchases had been made over a period of 1 year. Now, though the population has increased, according to these statistics that we have, there's a drop in consumption of 0.3%. Now, that also means there's a drop in the GDP as well. If you take a look at it, at the big picture, the spending has also dropped dramatically here in Sri Lanka. Now, speaking of spending, it also brings up the matter of loans. That is where we come to the central bank and the Auditor General. Now, recently, the Auditor General made a massive statement to the reporters at his office stating that a majority of loans have not been recorded in the books of the government. Now, the central bank has also issued a statement today citing, emphasizing that the government of Sri Lanka has maintained an unblemished record of debt servicing made in accordance with service payment obligations recognized through debt recording systems.
The release notes CBSL regularly and closely coordinates with Ministry of Finance and External Resources Department towards the accuracy of its published debt statistics, and in this connection, it also has the accessibility to the debt recording system maintained by ERD. In compilation and servicing of central government debt, CBSL uses its own recording systems with respect to domestic and international commercial borrowings. The release added that a debt management strategy is being formulated by CBSL for implementation, and it is also in the process of streamlining debt services liabilities with the passage of Active Liability Management Act. However, speaking at the launch of the annual audit report recently, Auditor General Gamani Vijayasinghe says he cannot provide a correct number for the national debt.
මේක විශාල අවුල්සහගත තත්යකට පත් වෙන්න ප්‍රධානම හේතුව විශාල වශයෙන්ම ණය ගැනීම.
The main reason for this is the excessive loans obtained exceeding the limits that have been imposed by the law, and writing off these debts from the books and moving the debt into different places. As per the records of the Finance Ministry, as of the 31st of December 2016, the debt was recorded at 8.9 trillion rupees. According to the Central Bank, the deficit for 2017 is 10.3 trillion rupees. Financial statements for the 31st of December 2016 record the value of assets at 1.1 trillion rupees. This is what we see as the most serious issue. However, as debt mounted, the investments have dropped. The former chief accountants, as a measure to overcome this, decided to write off some debt. For example, the debt of the Norachole power plant was moved to the Ceylon Electricity Board. The same goes for loans obtained for the Hambantota Port, the Suryavev grounds, Mattala. These loans are in the aviation department. The RDA accounts are filled with the debt obtained for the construction of roads. The figure stands at 136 billion rupees. There is 37 billion rupees with the pensions fund. Last year, the bank has paid 1.4 billion as interest. These loans have not been included in the books. The gap between the Finance Ministry and the Central Bank gradually increased. The debt became a total mess. If we start to unravel this mess now, we will be able to solve it in a decade.
ඉතාමත්ම ඉක්මනින් අත දාලා අද ලියන්න පටන් ගත්තොත් කරනවා තව අවුරුදු 10ක් ඉන්නත් 10ක් විතර ගොඩ එන්න පුළුවන් වෙයි.
Well, there you have the explanation from the Auditor General and the Central Bank, both sides explaining on national debt. And with that, we go in for a short commercial break. The news continues after the break.
The Elections Commission reports that all preparations have been made to hold the local government election tomorrow. The polling centres will open at 7 a.m. and are scheduled to close at 4 p.m.
Ballot boxes and election officials were directed to the respective polling stations from 8 a.m. today. Ballot boxes for the Colombo district were distributed from the Royal College Colombo and DS Senanayake College Colombo. There was an initial delay in issuing ballot boxes from the centre which was set up at the DS Senanayaka College. However, our reporters note that ballot boxes have reached all 1091 polling centres spread across the district of Colombo. 620 representatives will be elected from the Kandy district for 22 local government bodies. There was a delay reported today in the distribution of ballot boxes from the Royal College in Kandy due to a delay caused in issuing appointment letters for government servants assigned to serve as election officials. I would like to say that the officials have taken all measures to carry out the election process in a peaceful manner. Over in the Gaul district of the southern province, 7,096,076 eligible voters will exercise their franchise tomorrow to elect 419 representatives for the 19 local government bodies located in the district. So far we have around 10,000 officers for the entire district. The Gaul district has been peaceful. We are certain that we will not encounter any issue when counting the votes. This year's local government election is a very special one for 2 out of the 4 local government bodies in the Mullaitivu district. Tomorrow will be the first election in 30 years to elect representatives for the Maritime Pattu and Pudukudu Irippu Pradesha Sabhas. Elections for the 2 local government bodies were not held due to the war that lasted 30 years and then due to court orders. News First is geared and ready to bring you a comprehensive update about the election starting at 7 a.m. tomorrow. Request to all our viewers to tune in at 7 a.m. to News First, and we will keep you updated first and fast here. Moving on to more local news, a 65,000 strong police force has been deployed for election duty, according to police media spokesperson SP Ruwan Gunasekara. 2 police officers will be deployed for each polling station. The police STF will be deployed in identified areas outside the polling centres. If you are drunk or act in a disruptive manner inside the polling station, inside the counting centre or anywhere in the vicinity, you will be arrested. If a candidate is responsible for bringing a drunk person to any such location, the candidate in question will also be arrested. Our aim is to ensure the people's right to vote. We will take the maximum possible steps within the law to ensure this.
The Attorney General's Department filed a written submission today, strongly objecting to owner of Perpetual Treasuries Limited, Arjun Aloysius, and its CEO, Kasun Palisena, being released on bail. Aloysius and Palisena are currently in remand custody.
Fort Magistrate Lanka Jayaratne ordered for the case to be taken up again on the 16th of February at 2 p.m. to deliver an order on the request for bail. Deputy Solicitor General Haripriya Jayasundara appeared on behalf of the state and made written submissions. According to the B report, which is filed in court earlier, Arjun Aloysius, Kasum Palisena had aided in the criminal breach of trust committed by Arjuna Mahendran at the controversial bond auction on the 27th of February 2015. Attorneys for Aloysius and Palisena made a submission for bail on the 7th to the Fourth Magistrates Court.
The case filed by the Bribery Commission against Major Nisanka Senadipati and Major General Palitha Fernando was postponed until the 14th by Colombo High Court Judge R. Gurusingha.
A case was filed against Chairman of Avantgarde Maritime Service, Major Nisanka Senadipati, and Major General Palitha Fernando on several charges, including providing and accepting a bribe of 35.5 million rupees. The High Court judge ordered to take up the case again on the 14th, considering if all documents that have to be handed over by prosecution to the defence have been done accordingly.
The businessman who was assaulted by police officers on Tuesday in Kolpiti visited the police commission today.
On Tuesday, a group of police officers, including the OIC of the Minor Crimes Division from the Kolpiti Police, manhandled a businessman along a private road leading from Gaul Road to the beach. The businessman, accompanied by his attorneys, filed a complaint with the police commission against the officers in question. The businessman, his brother and son were arrested by police and released on bail, having been produced before the Fort Magistrate Lanka Jayaratne. According to the businessman, this took place against a backdrop where a case was taken up with regard to another building located adjacent to his business establishment. The Fort Magistrate issued an order to the respondent of a case relating to an unauthorized structure which should be demolished within a period of 3 months. If he fails to do so, the court will issue an order to the Urban Development Authority to carry out the demolition. As mentioned earlier on in the bulletin, we'll be bringing you a comprehensive update about the election, the local government election, starting from 7 a.m. tomorrow. It is important that you cast your vote to make a difference. So head into the polling stations at a convenient time too and make sure you cast your valuable vote.
Stay tuned. Biz First Review 360 follows with a discussion with Professor Robert Lawrence from the Harvard Kennedy School. Is the path to prosperity protectionism or free trade? For the News First team, I'm Rahna Farooq.
I'm Saturanga Puarachi. Take care and good night.